You cannot tax billionaires on the shares that they hold in a company because it is an unrealized gain, right? So they go like, yeah, you're worth 300 billion, but we can't tax you on those stocks because you haven't sold the shares, so you don't like have the money, right? But you're worth the money, but you don't have the money. And I understand the argument. They go like, no, you don't have it. It's just what it's worth, because it will also crash, and then you have nothing, so we can't tax you on it. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. So you can't tax the people on a thing because they don't have it. It's just there. Okay, fine. Then Elon Musk offers to buy Twitter, right? He offers to buy it. And then he says, in his offer, he goes, I'm putting up my Tesla stock as collateral. And I'm like, so you do have it? And he's like, no, I don't have it. I'm just going to say it's collateral. So then they accept the offer. He now buys Twitter. Now that they've accepted his offer, he now goes to private equity and banks and like other rich people and whatever. He goes like, can you guys borrow me the money to buy Twitter? And then he's like, I want to buy Twitter because I don't want to sell any of my Tesla shares. So I want to use your money to buy Twitter. And then it's like, but then they're like, what are we loaning it against? And he's like, well, my Tesla shares. Then I'm going like, wait. So you can buy a thing based on what you have, yes. But when we want to tax you, you can say, I don't have it. Do you hear what I'm saying here? And now, like, just think of like the illogic of it. It's such a fun game that like billionaires get to play because all their money is in that, right? Like if you earn your money as a salary, that your money just gets taxed. That's it.
And that right there was what you call a mind fucker, which he makes sense, but he don't make sense because he makes sense because they're using the collateral, the idea, like bonds. Now you're not owning something. It's just that throughout the time you earn, and this is why this thing is so lump-sided. You know, this is why everything is not right, and this is a ill-balanced financial system that made a lot of people rich and a lot of people poor at the same time. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Unto the Zay foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. It's going to be a quick show through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. I had in mind to do another video, and this thing popped up, and I'm sitting there looking at it. Like, then it has crazy and mind fuckery that is what he just said. It kind of makes sense. This is why you have to have a thing called fiat currency, because it's what you make of it. It's not what it is. We're not we all know riches is truly gold, silver, all right, livestock. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get that real quick. A basic scripture, but let me just get let me see if I can remember it. Give you ideas. Two of them I'm thinking of, but I'm gonna just do one. Nope, not that one. Oh, was it Abram? When I said Abram, I think it said Abram. But you know what? I'm gonna keep this because Job. Matter of fact, let me go to the one Job. I know that one off top. Job. One. Job, first chapter, and about 3. His substance also, matter of fact, I'll start on 1. There was a man in the land of Uz. That doesn't mean that he's an Edomite, like this idiot trying to say. Israelites always lived in other lands. Okay, I just gotta put that out there real quick. whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and the one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. So when he sees somebody that's perfect, upright, that's an Israelite. And they were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she asses, in a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. That was real substance. Livestock, land, children, all right, gold, silver, that's real substance. This shit that they did, which all of us are now really learning what's money, through the spirit. We learn from the apostles and from experience, living in this life. The shit that we're going back and forth in our hands, from one hand to another hand, all right, and then they put a credit card to a machine. That shit ain't real. That shit has not been real, period. And it says, and his sons went and feast in the houses, everyone in his day, meaning they had their own birthdays, and set and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. But that was the point. So this is right, what you call real substance, okay? And you're not going to bet against that substance. Now, they did certain things which they did bet against lands, which is still fraudulent. The biggest scam is not only is America, but the way to maintain substance, how they receive substance. That is another form of a big scam that they have established. All right, let me get this real quick.
And Burrs legally stole millions of acres from black families using a loophole called heir property, and they're still doing it. Here's the scam. When black landowners died without wills, the land became heir property, owned collectively by all descendants. Developers would find one distant heir and buy their tiny share for cheap. Then they'd force a partition sale through the courts, selling the entire property. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, heir property is the leading cause of black involuntary land loss. Real example, a timber company bought a 4% share of one family's land for $1,000, then forced the sale of all 160 acres. The family couldn't afford to bid. They lost everything. Between 1910 and 1997, black families lost 90% of their farmland, over 12 million acres. According to research, that land is worth over $326 billion today. They use the legal system to steal our wealth, then blame us for the wealth gap. Share this to expose the theft. Comment.
So there you go. And I just find out, I think it was today, and just seeing that is like, oh shit, this is how they did it. So you have something that exists and they don't have nothing, and with the little that they have, which they gathered by the seat, they're able to take it. So within this loophole that they created, it sustains their wealth. So the little real collateral, for another example, when you go to court and somebody got to get bailed out. Now, normally, well, not normally, when you get bailed out, they want collateral. So somebody got to put their house up, real substance, for something that doesn't exist. In other words, you could get out of it, no problem. Or if this, according to what they say, if you run away, they'll take the house. But why would you want to take somebody's? So they sell you. They give fraud. They give out fraudulent things, but they want the real the real substance. This is why this man's a devil. And it's hard to fathom. It's really hard to think about it. How can somebody buy from the lesser of the bunch and still be able to take everything, but just by what? By outbidding them. And then when it comes down to ownership of something else, they will put the idea out that if which is not collateral because they can't control it, they'll put the idea out and sell the idea to the next person so they can get the actual substance that they desire. Some weird shit, but it's some evil, diabolical shit that they did. That is some evil shit. So we're gonna give you this fake ass money, this fiat currency, but we want your actual land. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's legally binded. This is, hey man, this devil, bro. Micah 2:1, it says, woe unto them that devise of iniquity and work evil upon their beds. Which we know iniquity is what? Sin upon sin. And part of the sin, since I brought it up, thou shalt not take thy neighbor's landmark. All right? That's a sin. That's a no-no. The Lord does not play that game. When whoever that land belongs to, it goes to the next generation. In this society, you don't own absolute nothing. You never own nothing. None of us own anything. All right? Can easily be taken. If you commit a crime, guilty or not guilty, they could take your substance from you under their rulership. So the laws that they created enough loopholes so they could take people's substance. Now they just flat out just taking people's shit. Okay? Because if they deem, according to the National Defense Authorization Act, they could deem anybody a terrorist. And already, if you're arrested, you don't own no property. They already give the idea of people shall own nothing and be happy, which is an oxymoron. It's in a man's nature to own. But with this new world order, they want to take man out of his natural state, the way the Lord intended to it. Everything that they're doing to people, literally, they're going against what they're going against what the Heavenly Father created. Now, if somebody said, I don't want a piece of land or this, that, to the third, well, you write the right person that they want. They programmed you to think that way. You see the way of the cost of living it is today and the actual living where people live in is utter ridiculous. You still getting the worst service for renting, but the landowners, which is the landlords, they're giving the minimum workage. And they got it so fucked up that whatever they give us, we accept it because we think that's the only way it's supposed to be. So automatically, people do not want to own land. They don't want to own nothing. They want to have no property for themselves, which is their natural God gifted right. Hey, the Lord, when we go basic stuff right here, Deuteronomy. Hey, we talk about Yahweh Shem Yahshua is the God of the Israel, yet he still gave nations their portion. All right? Each nation had their own land. It says, Deuteronomy 32:8, when the Most High divided to the nations. So right there, he divided to the nations. Like, okay, this you people, you're not my people, but you have this land. You this, that, to the third. He did not just say, oh, everybody's going to be under Israel one time. Nope. He gave them their own land. All right. It says their inheritance. When you go to the word inheritance, to get as a possession, acquire, inherit, possess, to take possession, inherit. So, like I stated, everybody had their God-given rights. This is from the Most High, the God of gods, the creator of all things. When he created everything in his mind, and he had Yahushua create everything, and he had Yahushua and the angels create, they make sure everybody got their portion. So when people slip out and try to take somebody else's portion, you allow them to play that game because that's what they do. They're greedy. They're not satisfied. But every mother effer is supposed to have their own shit. That's the bottom line. But here it is in 2026 on beyond. They're trying to tell everybody you're not supposed to have a goddamn thing and be happy about it, which is completely off, which is completely evil, which is wicked. All right, and the people that's on top, you're not even supposed to fucking question their shit. That's bullshit. That's no part of my friend. That's fucking bullshit. Every single person should be highly pissed the fuck off at what's going on. You don't own your fucking clothes. You don't own your children. You don't own your relationship. You don't own shit. And you're just being told that's the best way to do. So if you're acceptable to this situation, you deserve what they're gonna give you. You deserve what's coming. All right, because you don't have no bite to the fight. It says, and here's another thing, Salakia, little rant, but here's another thing. We talk about the RFID microchip and how they want to put in everybody. Majority of people, you're not even worthy. That's how fucked up this thing is. They're not even considering the majority of people on the planet Earth even worthy. They want to diminish the population, period. Okay? So they don't even think about majority of you people out there, let alone if they're gonna put the chip on you. And if you do, they're gonna do whatever the hell they want to do. I just gotta put that in vibration out there too. Okay? So this devil is the purest form of evil that you could think of. What the world called evil, because evil means bad times. He's about to bring the bad times. It says when he had separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So every nation had their lots. They all had a land for themselves, a land for their people, a land for their peoples. Okay? What they did in that land is what the fuck they did. What you do in your house, like they'll say, what you do in your shit. But the Lord allowed that to happen. But here it is, the good old devil, right? Esau, the so-called white man, is saying, nope, we're not going to allow you to, no, you can't have your land. We're going to infiltrate your shit. We're going to take over. Okay? We're going to put our influences and to have you give us your land and by law with the paperworks. All right? Or we're just going to bomb the shit out of it and take it over by force. That's exactly what they're doing. And it says, and work evil upon their bed. So this thing is not a thing when it just happened overnight. Nah, this is a generational thing. They've been had this idea to do, like the law in Argentina, that they just a couple years ago, if a natural disaster take place as a fire and it burns down a certain place, somebody could purchase that land. And all of a sudden, these gutter rats were going around burning a whole bunch of spots in Argentina. And Argentina is more acceptable to those small hats. They done infiltrated that place, period. If you know about Argentina, and I believe it's Chile too, dude, and they just completely racist. They just all about the lighter, mainly the gringos. That is inheritance. Now I was thinking about it, like how we in America, you know, we know so much, but so less. And you have the other tribes. Now they're all Israelites: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Issachar, Dali, Asher, all, and within their world. Okay, like I seen a video, little off subject, but of a chick, and she was just talking about her. She's light skinned Jake, right? So I don't know, but she said Chinese Jamaican, like a Jamaican Chinese or Chinese Jamaican, and you see the Chinese people, they speak patois, which they was a broken English very well. You can't tell that's they're not Jamaican or not. But in that realm, in that land, that's what those brothers I gotta deal with. They gotta figure out who's Jake, who's not. They know. We in the States, we don't only know, so we know what the States is. All right. If we was born here, or we was raised here, that's all we know. So what goes on in the tribes homeland, they know the history. Like on Levi, there's a Polish a Polish community, but come to find out, those Polish, they made outside look like they were Edomites, but their lineage go way back. All right, and they settled in after the war. They settled down in Haiti, and I learned this from a Polish guy. And I was standing there like, oh word, like I was shocked when I looked it up. I was like, oh damn, like, and their spirits go back to the Moors, which they Jake. So there's certain things like everybody has an issue with Bob Marley, and well, his father's white, but his father's Irish, and a lot of Irishmen were Israelites. So there's that factor. But Slack, like I said, it was like a little side thing. So Jake have things to worry about, like who's who and what's what. So in Argentina slash Chile, when they burning the places down, they allowing these small hatters, and the small hatters infiltrated that government period. But there was a practicing a thing down there. I don't know what the name of it is, where they only the quote unquote white Chileans or white Argentinians and whatever. But like most of the times when you see the Latin tribes, you only see the ones that's fair skinned that look like they're Edomites. All right. And what they did, they infiltrated these environments like that. So there's a lot of display of mixture and confusion all over the place. But the Lord's the one that's sifting things out. But all that is because these illuminating these well, I don't care, these Freemasons amongst the nations, and that's how they spread themselves. They all infiltrated everything. This was not a plan overnight. This is a long, um, plotted out plan to do the things that they're doing. It says they practice it because it's in the power of their hands, because the Lord gave them rulership. No, sorry, the Lord gave them time to rule, but their time is up. Okay, it says, and they covet fields. When you covet, that means somebody else has possession of it. Somebody else has possession of it, and you want, instead of wanting your own thing, you want what that person has, and that's Esau's MO to AT. But when it comes to his possession, the shit that he then quote unquote took, or he has security, all right, behind it. That's why that whole thing in the beginning of the video, the guy was breaking out Elon Musk. He wanted to buy Twitter, so he put Tesla as a shareholder, and they couldn't touch it because although he owns it, he doesn't own it. So they created loopholes for themselves. All right, a lot of land that they took, like most of Florida. Come to find out, after the after that damn devil, um, Andrew Jackson had Seminole Indians moved out of Florida to Oklahoma. The older land there was a land grab there. That's where the whole term $5 Indian come from, and they were selling it for less prices to Edomites. And then they infiltrated and said, "Oh, we're those people." So this is the way this devil does shit, man. He sees something he wants, he takes it. He's gonna take it by force, or he's gonna take it some loophole that is left open for them. And they exercise every single aspect to get what they want. Is to take them by violence, which the majority of things was taken by violence, and their houses, and take them away, so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So even when a man's possess the land, let's say if a man doesn't give up that land, they'll find a way. Like if you buy a house, especially in America, this is exactly what they're doing in America. You buy a house, you gotta pay a mortgage, 30 years mortgage, right? Which you gotta pay a set price, and that set price for that is fixed in. So you're always gonna pay that until you die. Hypothetically, if you actually buy the whole house and I don't have to pay this set price no longer. There's a little tax in the back end which is called a property tax. So even though you supposedly own the house, they still could take your house because the land that is on belongs to the property the owners. So these devils, they map everything out. This is why scripture says where your heart is. Matter of fact, let me get it. Thinking about this shit is vexing. That's why fuck this world, man. This is all temporal. We're just passing by. We're just passing through. That's why when you see somebody, of course, we have a lot of history. A lot of, you built a lot of sweat, blood, tears, but all that is not for the people that got. It's a stain, a mark for the people that took it. So despite it may seem like it obviously is a loss, but it's just like you didn't lose because we're about to gain the world anyway. Israel, Yasha'Allah, the people of the Lord, is about to gain the whole world. Matter of fact, hold on, I read this earlier too. Wow. Psalms 35. And, you know what? Psalms 35. I started at 5. For his anger endureth but for a moment. Talking about the Most High's anger. This is all for a moment. Okay? Think about all the people that own, possess, created, that were the tribes that put their 2 cents into this world. Okay? They put it all, they thought it everything through. They thought it out. They prayed upon it. And then this devil comes to say, "Oh, you didn't own shit because I patent this. I patent your idea. I took your idea." So we feel the wrath of the Lord. It's like, damn, no matter what we do to make things easier, it doesn't go nowhere. All right? We was born here in captivity to this side of the world against our will. We've been slaughtered, raped, robbed, murdered. Okay? All this bad things is happening, constantly happen. You finally think you have a footing, they take it from you. So, but that we know that's the anger of the Lord. And the Lord is telling us, like, nah, he's pissed off at us because, one, we sinned against the Lord. Two, to teach us a lesson. Do not get attached to anything in this world. All right, and we're learning not to attach ourselves to this world, because we're about to lose everything but gain everything. We're about to lose little but to gain greater gain, if you know what I mean. It says, in his favor is life, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And in our prosperity, so in my prosperity, I said I would never be moved. The Lord, by thy favor, has said that has made my mountain to stand strong, which David was talking about his government, his rule. And it is meant to stand strong because that is what is the Lord's going to revive that kingdom and make it twice as better than it was before. All right. That's the favor that the Lord, the love that the Lord had for David. That the whole entire this whole entire ministry is built upon the house of David, secretly, not secretly, openly. All right, which the house of David is the elect, the chosen of the chosen. It says, "Thou didst hide it, so hide thy face, and I was troubled. I cried to thee, O Lord, now to the Lord I made my supplication. For what profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit?" Was this the one I was looking for? Slovakia. It was the other one. But that was good, actually. It was 25. That's what it was. Slovakia. Psalms 25. Eeh, see if I can find it. There it is. Matthew's. So I keep saying Matthew's. um, let's start at 20. What's that 20? 25 and 5. Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art my power of my salvation. On thee do I wait all day. Remember, O Yahweh, thy tender mercies and the loving kindness, for they have been ever of old. Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgression. According to thy mercy, remember thou me for thy goodness sake, O Yahweh. Good and the upright is the Lord. Therefore will he teach sinners in the way. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. All the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth unto such as kept his covenant and his testimony. And it says, for thou name's sake, O Yahweh, pardon my iniquity, for it is great. What man is he that feareth so what man is that feareth the Lord? Him shall he teach in the way that he shall choose. So we learn because we fear the Lord. So making a thing like this to set aside property and things of that nature, which is natural for man, because it was natural for us to have inheritance. All right, that's the way of the old. But in a world where it's saying nope, you're not gonna have nothing, which is not natural. It's natural for a man to desire to have children. It's natural for a man to have desire to have a wife, house, land, property. It's natural. But the Lord is telling us to set these things aside and follow Him, right? So this is what we did. Matter of fact, it's not, well, it doesn't matter. I read it. It's okay. Basically, we all know that the meek should inherit the earth. And the meek, which we go into maybe that's what I did. I just looked it up. It says the meek, right? Yeah. The Hebrew words anaya one. Poor, humble, afflict, poor, meek, poor, needy, poor, work, weak, poor, weak, afflicted, humble, lowly, meek, which is what? The meek should inherit the earth. To inherit something, you must be what? You must have you must be an heir. Okay? So the meek that's going to inherit the earth are the heirs of the kingdom. Off top. Matter of fact, let me just make sure I get that. Meek should inherit the earth. It says verse 5, Matthew 5 and 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. When you go into the word inherit, to receive a lot, receive by lot, especially to receive a part of an inheritance, receive as an inheritance obtained by right of inheritance, to be an heir. So right there it tells you to be an heir. And in order to be an heir, you must be under or come from a ruling class, period. It must be come from a lineage. So everything is about bloodlines. Everything is about lineage and so forth. The meek, the Lord established the meek to be who? Israel on in this world. And the promise what? Is that they was going to inherit the kingdom. From whom? Who are we going to inherit it from? Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is going to give, because Yahweh Shai was given an inheritance in this world. Okay? And who's gave it to him? The Most High. Real quick. Psalms 2 and 7. It says, I will declare the decree the Lord has said unto me. Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So, the Lord promised to Yahweh Shai the very world that he created. Okay? The Lord gave him the blueprint. He didn't get to enjoy the spoils. You see? I was watching it's an old video of a Jake. Well, it's an old 1960 something, maybe it was 66 color, and they went down to the south and how they treated Jake back then, and it basically not the video I saw today, but I seen it. I have it in my phone, but they said that how Negroes didn't see if they did any wrong to Jake, and one woman said, "Yeah, we loved them. We loved them like pets, right?" And they didn't see no wrong with that. But one of the main things was it was a younger generation. So this Edomite was talking about how they treat their slaves, or not slaves, how they said it, they Negroes or colored people such a way they treat them like family. That's what they said, right? And they said, but the next generation, like they have some sort of rebellious. And the Jake was talking. He's like his mother. You see his mother working from sun up to sundown, and sweat off her back. You see his father work, and they don't have nothing. And he said, "You mean to tell me we don't have?" They sweat, tears, and blood, and we don't have own nothing. Now he said, "Nah, we got to change." You could see that his eyes was like watery. He's like, "This is crazy." Well, and in the hindsight, not going off subject, but going off subject. In hindsight, we helped create this world. All right, in the spiritual, being those first spirits to create, and also in the physical. Yet we didn't get no sort of recognition at all. So in hindsight, Yahweh Shai himself did not get the recognition, the stuff that he did for this world. Yeah, we recognize, those of us that know, we recognize the workings of him, but the world doesn't. So he hasn't gotten his inheritance yet. But his promise is what? And when he gets his inheritance, that we will be joint heirs with him. And there's no loophole. There's nobody's gonna come and say, I find a weak, a far distant family member, that loophole, and um, we're gonna buy him out. And once we buy him out, we're gonna buy out the rest of them because they can't afford. We're gonna take them to court and all that bullshit. Like that. What's that? I reference a lot of movies. So the movie with Leo, that damn, what's it called? Uh, the Killers of Flower Moon was based on a true story, and what it was, Gad. The worst thing they could do, the Gadites, when they found oil in that land, was to do what? Give that inheritance to their daughters. Their daughters end up marrying crackers, and what the crackers were doing was killing them. So then they inherit that. But this inheritance that we're going to possess, this is from the Heavenly Father. All right. It says Romans 8:17. And if children, then heirs, heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Yahushai, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. So that's what we're receiving. So do we want a part of this world? I say fuck it. No. They want to claim everything that was said and done. It's all right. Let them. Because at the end of the day, we're going to inherit we're going to inherit the kingdom. We're going to inherit the world to come. They can have, we're a part of this world, but they can have the dregs of it. Okay? Psalms 194. I say 190, 149. It says, praise ye the Lord, sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of the saints. Let Israel be rejoice. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. That so let thy children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in a dance. Let them sing praises unto him with timbrel and harp. And what would make a man praise the Lord in that sense? Freedom. The Lord keeping his promise. All right. That renewed spirit. There's a saying in the world. Yeah, their grandparents been saying that for a long time, but when it's actually getting done, when you see the results of it, because we see the results, we see the change, the dynamic change. We've seen all the secrets of Esau, how he stole everything. He constantly steals. From the U.S. government today, if a natural disaster hit a territory, they could claim that land. So what the hell do you own? You don't own shit. But in the kingdom to come, we're going to own land. It's going to be our land for our children. All right? The heathens are going to pay tributary to us. So all these things is going to be worth the dance. It's going to be worth the praising of the Lord. Okay? Because the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, is keeping his promise. Our job is to keep our promise to him. It says, for the Lord take pleasure in his people. So, like the scripture says, this light affliction. All right. And the Lord said he'd be, if we do good, he'd be happy to multiply us. If we do bad, he'd be happy to to, to not multiply us, take us out. Okay. So his pleasure, it's crazy how if you really think about it, the Lord's pleasure is to make us happy. Right? That's crazy. So our pleasure right now is to make him happy, which is it should be no problem. We'll learn to make him happy. The best way to do it by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and go out there in the highways and byways and teach. Stay in order. Fight. It says, "For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people; he'll beautify the meek with salvation." So the meek, the humble, the salvation is what? To be saved from what? From the utter destruction. All right? Like, yo, like, you sweat off the brow of your forehead. Like, we made it. We got delivered. That's the Lord is excited about that. You know? Hey, you think Noah and his sons, the Lord took pleasure in that. He took pleasure in the fact that he delivered them so they could start over. It said, "Let the saints be joyful in glory, and let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and the two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with feathers of iron." And all this is part of the inheritance, the promise of the Lord, to execute upon them the judgment written. This is honor. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. So it's an honorable thing, which I never looked up. This word is hadar, a ornament, splendor, honor, ornament, splendor, majesty, honor, glory. So the glorification, the blessing, to truly be blessed is what? To have people worship you, to have servants, to have slaves. This is the true meaning, period. This is how we honored. Was not Esau honored when he had slaves? He was. All right? He was. So what? When the roles are reversed and it's never ever going to change again, this is going to be the honor for us. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.